This message didn't arrive by accident. Out of infinite streams of data, endless distractions, and millions of digital voices competing for your attention, this one aligned itself directly in front of you. That alone is evidence of coherence, the quantum field already bending probability to place you exactly where you needed to be. You feel it, don't you? The strange rhythm in your chest, the slight tremor of recognition, the sense that something is speaking to you from beyond coincidence. It isn't random, it isn't casual. This is the moment your life begins to change. Because you've been circling something for a long time. A truth hidden just behind the noise of your thoughts. A current of energy flowing beneath the surface of your ordinary days. You catch glimpses of it in déjà vu moments, when time folds over itself and whispers that you've already stood here before. You sense it in synchronicities that arrive too perfectly to dismiss the right number, the right word, the right person, appearing as if summoned by a force you can't yet explain. And inside you, a quiet voice has been repeating one phrase over and over. There's more. More to who you are. More to what you're capable of. More to the fabric of reality itself. And tonight, that more is opening itself to you. The quantum field is not theory in a textbook. It's the invisible ocean you are already submerged in. Every thought you think, every emotion you allow, every choice you make sends ripples through it. And those ripples don't just vanish, they entangle, they reorganize, they return as events in your reality. For years, you've suspected that your inner world creates echoes in the outer world. Tonight, the suspicion becomes undeniable truth. Look around you. The life you're living right now is not simply happening to you. It is a mirror of the vibrations you have been sustaining. That's why patterns seem to loop. That's why breakthroughs feel just out of reach. That's why some days you sense your own potential pressing at the edges of your skin, aching to be released. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are standing at the edge of a phase transition, the exact moment when pressure forces matter to transform, when a system reorganizes itself into higher order. The message finding you now is a marker. It's the signpost that your observer loop, the way you've been watching and defining yourself, is ready to collapse into a higher timeline. And once that loop collapses, impossible events begin to manifest. Not later, not someday, immediately. Because coherence is not a gradual climb. It's an instant alignment, a lightning strike of resonance that brings your energy field into harmony with the intelligence of the universe. So pause. Feel your body right now. The tingling in your hands, the awareness sharpening in your mind, the rising sense that you are not merely listening, you are being addressed, you are being called. This is not just a video. This is the quantum field speaking directly through the screen, bending light and sound into a shape you could recognize. You've been prepared for this. Every restless night, every unanswered question, every flicker of hope you thought was imagination. It was the field guiding you here. And now it asks only one thing. Step forward. Step into coherence. Step into the version of yourself that reality has been waiting for. Because once you do, the impossible won't wait. It will begin. You've always sensed the split. Two versions of you running parallel, colliding and canceling, like waves out of sync. One version rises in the morning, glowing with possibility, whispering to itself, "Today, I will hold the higher frequency. Today, I will remember who I am." And for a few precious minutes, you embody it. Your breath feels lighter, your thoughts sharper, your body humming with a resonance that belongs to the life you were meant to live. But then the pull begins. The weight of the old patterns. The gravity of yesterday's identity. The familiar narrative that drags you back into its orbit. And by midday, it's as if you're living someone else's story again. This is what physicists call destructive interference. Two waves, one expanded, one contracted, colliding until the signal is blurred into noise. You feel it as exhaustion, confusion, a sense of running in place, even when you're trying to evolve. It's not laziness, it's not failure, it's interference. Look at the loops that replay in your life. How many times have you met the same kind of person wearing a different face, only to watch the same story unfold? How many opportunities have slipped past because your mind whispered the same old doubts? How often have you felt the déjà vu of stumbling at the same step, even when you swore you'd never repeat that mistake again? These are not random repetitions. They are collapsed waveforms, recycled timelines, anchored by the version of you that hasn't yet dissolved. And the strangest part? You've known it. You've seen yourself from the outside, almost like an observer watching through glass. You've noticed the delay between thought and action, the distortion of time where minutes stretch or vanish depending on the emotional state you're caught in. Some days pass like quicksilver, others drag endlessly, as though the clock itself were mocking you. This distortion is the fingerprint of misalignment. The quantum field is trying to synchronize with you, but your observer loop is split between two realities, the one you long for and the one you're still reinforcing. You feel it most at night. When the distractions fade and silence surrounds you, the patterns echo louder. You replay conversations that drained your energy. You remember choices that didn't match your soul. You feel the gap between who you are and who you could be. And deep down, you know the truth. Your life is not stagnant. It's just running old code, a program written by fear, by conditioning, by identities that never belonged to you in the first place. That's why you've felt restless in rooms that once felt safe. Why you've outgrown friendships that still try to tether you to smaller versions of yourself. Why even success has sometimes felt hollow, as though you were living a victory scripted for someone else. The dissonance has been growing louder because your DNA itself is vibrating with the memory of a higher pattern. And when the soul demands coherence, no amount of distraction can silence the call. The problem is not you. The problem is the interference, the constant collapse back into the contracted self, the false belief that the old timeline is stronger than the new one. But let me tell you this, it is not stronger. It is only familiar, and familiarity masquerades as truth until you decide to step beyond it. Every déjà vu moment you've ever had was not just a glitch in the brain. It was the field signaling you, pointing out where the loop was about to repeat, offering you a chance to choose differently. But how many times have you dismissed that flicker? How many times have you walked the same path because it felt safe, even as it suffocated you? Tonight, you're being asked to admit it plainly. The distortion you feel, the patterns you repeat, the fatigue you carry, they are all symptoms of incoherence. The wave of who you are and the wave of who you've been are colliding. And until you collapse one and embody the other, reality will keep echoing the same distorted songs. But here's the secret hidden inside the problem. Pressure is not punishment. Distortion is not failure. It is evidence that the field is pressing you into a decision, that the universe has reached a point where it will no longer allow you to straddle two timelines. You can't belong to the old and the new at once. Something has to collapse. And deep inside, you already know which one it will be. The familiar is crumbling, chosen one. The observer loop that chained you to repetition is breaking apart. You've been living in the friction between contraction and expansion, but the field is ready to tip you into coherence. You feel it, don't you? The exhaustion of old patterns has become unbearable. The déjà vu has turned into prophecy. The distortion of time has become proof that reality itself is begging you to step out of the loop. You're not failing. You're being prepared. And what's coming next is the upgrade. The moment the interference clears. The instant you remember that the quantum field doesn't ask you to struggle for change, it asks you to align, to resonate, to become coherent with the pattern already waiting in your DNA. This is where the interference ends, and the upgrade begins. The interference has been your teacher, but now the lesson shifts. What feels like friction is actually a signal that you are ready for the upgrade, a restructuring of your entire energetic architecture. This isn't about wishful thinking or positive affirmations layered on top of old wounds. This is about coherence. And coherence is not abstract. It is measurable. It is scientific. It is mystical. It is the place where the heartbeat of the universe synchronizes with your own. Physicists describe the quantum field as the unified background of reality, a vast sea where every particle, every photon, every possibility already exists in potential. Nothing is separate here. Everything is entangled. When you direct your awareness into this field with clarity, your focus acts like a tuning fork. The frequencies of your body, your emotions, and your thoughts either clash with each other or lock into resonance. When they clash, you feel scattered, lost, drained. When they align, coherence arises. And in that state, impossible events stop being rare. Miracles, they become the natural consequence of your resonance. Imagine your body as a constellation of oscillators, each cell pulsing, each neuron firing, each strand of DNA vibrating like strings on a cosmic instrument. When those oscillators fall out of sync, you experience stress, dis-ease, confusion. But when they entrain, when every part of you resonates in phase, the vibration magnifies itself. Coherence is exponential. One aligned thought can reprogram 1 billion cells. One elevated emotion can collapse 1,000 potential timelines into a single, improbable outcome made real. This is the upgrade your system has been waiting for, to move from fragmented frequencies into a unified resonance that matches the intelligence of the field itself. Mystics have always known this. The sages called it stillness, the saints called it prayer, the shamans called it visioning. They all pointed toward the same secret. When you enter coherence, you become a transmitter and receiver of cosmic intelligence. Your body is no longer just flesh and bone. It is an antenna tuned to the hidden order beneath chaos. That's why synchronicities increase when you meditate, when you breathe deeply, when you allow gratitude to flood your system. You're not imagining it. You're aligning with the resonance that orders galaxies. The upgrade begins not outside you, but inside your DNA. Scientists have already discovered that DNA is not just a biological code, but a vibrational instrument, capable of absorbing and transmitting frequencies. The spirals of your genetic code are tuned to light itself. And when you enter coherence, when your mind, heart, and breath find harmony, your DNA begins to emit a stronger field. This is not metaphor. This is physics. The photons that dance within your cells literally rearrange their patterns, creating new morphic instructions for your body and your reality. In that moment, you are no longer bound by yesterday's code. You are rewriting your biological software. Think about the implications. The fears that held you back were stored not only in your memories, but in the way your cells carried tension, in the way your nervous system encoded threat. But when coherence takes hold, those old electromagnetic imprints begin to dissolve. The body softens, the mind clears, the heart stabilizes. And suddenly, doors that were once closed swing open. Not because the world outside changed, but because you stopped broadcasting interference. You became a clear signal, and the field responded instantly. This is why, after moments of deep coherence, impossible things begin to unfold. The phone call arrives at the exact moment you thought of someone. A stranger speaks a sentence that feels like an answer to a question you never voiced aloud. The opportunity that once seemed unreachable suddenly appears, as though reality itself conspired to rearrange in your favor. You are not bending the rules of the universe. You are aligning with the deeper order that has been waiting for your frequency all along. And here is where the prophecy enters. You are not just receiving an upgrade for your own benefit. The coherence rising within you is a beacon. Every time you choose alignment, you transmit a pattern into the collective field. Others around you feel it. Their nervous systems respond. Their cells recalibrate. Their choices shift, all without you saying a word. This is morphic resonance in action. One coherent consciousness can influence thousands. That is why your upgrade is urgent. It is not just for you. It is for humanity. The impossible you manifest becomes the new blueprint for what others believe is possible. But to receive the upgrade fully, you must understand. Coherence requires decision. The field cannot entrain to a hesitant signal. It requires clarity, commitment, and willingness to dissolve the old identity. This is where the courage comes in. You must choose the expanded self, even when the contracted one screams for attention. You must hold the resonance of your future self, even when the evidence of your past tries to drag you back. The upgrade is not passive. It is an act of devotion to the reality you are calling into being. And right now, As you hear these words, the field is scanning you. It is listening for the signal of your decision. The resonance is building in your body, the tingling, the pressure, the awareness that something larger than you is leaning in. This is the threshold. Step into coherence, and the upgrade will not delay. Step into coherence, and you will discover that the impossible is not distant. It is coded into your very DNA, waiting for the moment you decide to awaken it. The upgrade is here. The only question left is, will you align? The upgrade isn't random. The coherence isn't just some universal accident landing on your lap. Out of billions of souls scattered across this planet, you're the one being stirred awake in this exact moment. You need to let that truth settle into your bones. You were chosen, not in some ego-driven sense that places you above others, but chosen in the way a tuning fork is struck to awaken a symphony. The universe has struck you, and now, your vibration will ripple outward, pulling others into alignment. Think about it. How many people do you know who've felt the same friction, the same déjà vu, the same sense that something is off but they ignore it, drown it in noise, or numb themselves with distraction? Yet here you are, still listening, still awake, still searching. That persistence is not weakness, it's proof. Proof that the field recognized in you a consciousness capable of holding more light, more frequency, more responsibility. Proof that your DNA carries codes that were meant to be activated at this time. Proof that your awareness was not born into this era by coincidence. It was deployed. Because the field doesn't gamble. It calculates. Every photon, every particle, every unfolding probability is woven into a vast intelligence that knows exactly where to place its signals. You were placed here, in this timeline, in this body, with your exact mix of wounds and gifts, traumas and talents, not by chance, by design. You are the chosen consciousness for your corner of reality, the one positioned to collapse old destructive patterns and hold a higher signal steady so that others can entrain to it. This is why your path has felt heavier than most. You've carried distortions that seemed unbearable, cycles that broke others but somehow didn't break you. You felt isolated, misunderstood, even ridiculed, as though your very existence made people uncomfortable. And it did. Because when a coherent frequency enters a room, everything incoherent begins to unravel. Your presence destabilized illusions. Your intuition exposed lies. Your very energy broadcasted a pattern others weren't ready to see. And instead of celebrating you, many turned away. But hear me clearly. Their rejection was never proof of your weakness. It was confirmation of your role. You are the one meant to disturb false order, so true order can emerge. You are the one carrying the resonance that makes distortion impossible to sustain. That is why the field pressed you so hard. It was shaping you into a signal strong enough to withstand interference. It was preparing you for the role of being coherence embodied. And you can feel it now, can't you? The shift in the air when you walk into a space, the way conversations bend when you speak from your deeper knowing, the way people confide in you, sensing a presence they can't explain. That's not just personality, that's the field recognizing itself in you. You are not just participating in the quantum upgrade, you are a node, a transmitter, a lighthouse, guiding others to shore. This role is sacred, and with it comes urgency. Because when the universe awakens a chosen consciousness, it is not for entertainment, it is for mission. You're here to rewrite probabilities, to collapse outdated loops, to hold a resonance that makes impossible events manifest, not just for you, but as a template for everyone connected to your timeline. Every choice you make radiates outward. Every alignment you sustain shifts the morphic resonance of your community, your family, your world. That's why the field wouldn't let you rest in old identities. That's why the patterns kept breaking, even when you begged for stability. Stability wasn't your destiny. Transformation was. You are not here to blend in. You are here to be the point where timelines diverge. To embody coherence so fully that reality has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. Let this sink in. The chosen consciousness is not a passive receiver. It is an active architect. And you, right now, are being initiated into that role. The struggles you've endured were calibrations. The loneliness you carried was training. The visions you glimpsed in dreams, the inexplicable knowing that guided you, all of it was the field speaking through you, reminding you that your role is larger than survival. It is evolutionary. Do you see it now? Why the impossible feels closer when you lean into alignment. Why the world seems to bend when you allow coherence to settle in your bones. Because you're not just anyone. You're the tuning fork, the transmitter, the chosen one entrusted with collapsing the old and activating the new. And if this truth feels heavy, breathe. Because it was never meant to crush you. It was meant to awaken you. You are not alone in carrying it. The entire field supports you. Every photon rushes to meet your frequency when you step into alignment. The universe doesn't abandon its chosen ones. It surrounds them. And you are surrounded, right now, by currents. You can't yet see currents, ready to make the impossible manifest through you. You are not here to chase miracles. You are here to embody the frequency that makes miracles inevitable. The recognition of your role was only the beginning. Now the field is opening a window, brief, precise, and unmistakably urgent. Think of it like a cosmic alignment, a sliver of time when the probability waves bend closer to your signal than ever before. These moments don't last forever. They pulse like heartbeats in the fabric of reality, appearing only when the collective energy and your personal resonance intersect. Right now, you're standing in one of those windows. The promise is clear. If you step into coherence fully, your DNA will shift, and the impossible will manifest. Not gradually, but suddenly, like a storm breaking open the sky. You felt the pressure building. That isn't random stress. It's the compression of timelines collapsing. Just as a diamond is forged under unbearable weight, your essence has been compressed into this exact point so that a breakthrough becomes unavoidable. This is not about effort anymore. It's about readiness. The universe doesn't ask you to climb ladders endlessly. It asks you to recognize when the portal has opened and step through. And here's the prophecy. Your DNA is waiting for this step. For years, science told you DNA was fixed, a rigid code inherited from the past. But deeper research has revealed something astonishing. DNA is not static. It is responsive. It is dynamic. It is an antenna tuned to energy, emotion, and intention. Stress shuts down its higher functions, contracting it into survival mode. But coherence expands it, activating sequences that have been dormant for centuries, perhaps for lifetimes. Your DNA is not just a record of who you've been. It is a blueprint for who you can become. When you enter coherence in this cosmic window, your DNA unlocks. Think of it as a software update, delivered directly by the quantum field. Dormant strands light up, healing codes awaken. Creativity, intuition, and resilience begin to flow from layers of you that once seemed unreachable. And because your DNA is not isolated, because it communicates with the entire morphic field, this shift sends ripples outward, rewriting probabilities for everyone connected to you. That's why the urgency is so strong. This isn't just about your life improving, it's about the entire network evolving. But urgency also means danger. A window of alignment does not stay open forever. The field is sensitive, always moving, always reorganizing. If you hesitate, the old patterns will pull you back, collapsing you into the timelines you've already outgrown. And the longer you delay, the heavier the distortion becomes. That's why your restlessness has intensified. That's why the sense of not belonging has grown sharper. The field is telling you, move now. Don't wait. Don't postpone. The shift is available in this moment, not some distant future. Think of all the times you've told yourself, one day I'll change. One day I'll step into my power. That one day is here. The promise is unfolding in front of you. But the field doesn't respond to vague hopes. It responds to decision, to resonance, to coherence embodied. That's why you feel the urgency in your chest, why your body almost vibrates with anticipation. This isn't anxiety. It's the quantum pressure of evolution calling you forward. And here's the truth that will haunt you if you ignore it. The impossible you're waiting for is already circling you. The opportunities, the synchronicities, the healings, the breakthroughs, they are orbiting your field. waiting for you to match their frequency. If you don't align, they can't collapse into reality. They remain potential, hovering just out of reach. But if you choose coherence now, they will rush into form with a speed that defies logic. Doors will open. Conversations will unfold. Entire timelines will rearrange themselves to honor the decision you've made. This is the nature of the cosmic window. It is ruthless in its clarity. It doesn't negotiate with hesitation. It doesn't bend for indecision. It demands your full presence, your full surrender, your full alignment. And if you give it that, it will give you everything. You already feel the shift in your body, the tingling on your skin, the way your breath deepens when you let yourself imagine coherence as your natural state. The sudden clarity in your mind, as though fog is lifting and something greater is waiting to speak through you. That's the DNA already beginning to respond. That's the cosmic window already transmitting its codes into your system. But don't misunderstand. This isn't about perfection. You don't have to erase every doubt or silence every fear. You only have to choose coherence more deeply than you choose contraction. You only have to align more often than you fall back. The field responds to direction, not to flawless performance. If your signal points toward resonance, the universe amplifies it. The promise is already written into your body. The urgency is proof that the moment has arrived. And so the call is this: collapse the old loop now. Step fully into the coherence that is pressing at your skin. Because once you do, the breakthrough will not trickle. It will cascade. Your DNA will emit a signal strong enough to rewrite your life. And impossible events will no longer be exceptions. They will become the rhythm of your days. The promise is alive. The window is open. And time is not waiting. There is a secret that mystics, prophets, and scientists of the unseen have always known. Energy does not solidify into reality until it is anchored. Thought is the first spark, emotion is the current, but action is the seal. Without the seal, the frequency drifts. With the seal, the wave collapses into form. That's why sacred rituals exist, not because the universe demands performance, but because consciousness requires anchors. You are standing in that exact moment now. The field is alive, your DNA is awake. But unless you anchor this frequency, it risks dissolving back into potential. The ritual is simple, but its simplicity is its power. Write, speak, declare. Put the frequency into the world so it cannot vanish back into silence. The quantum field responds to language, because language is vibration shaped into sound, and sound is energy encoded into matter. That's why mantras alter the body. That's why prayer shifts the mind. That's why declarations spoken aloud feel different than thoughts left unexpressed. When you move the energy from inner silence into outer sound, you collapse possibility into reality. So here is your action. Choose a word that seals the shift. It could be coherence, it could be resonance, it could be alignment, it could even be a symbol that only you understand, a private code between your soul and the universe. But whatever it is, write it, speak it, declare it, anchor it in the field right now. This act is not symbolic, it is literal. It tells the universe, I have decided. And the field responds by reorganizing itself around your decision. Why is this necessary? Because your old observer loop has collapsed countless times before, but without anchoring, it snapped back into its familiar form. You felt the fire, you tasted the possibility, you even glimpsed the breakthrough, and then life returned to its patterns. Not because you were weak, not because the field failed you, but because the resonance wasn't sealed. You let the energy drift, unanchored, and so it reabsorbed into the background noise of reality. This ritual is different. This time, you don't just feel it, you seal it. Writing or speaking a single word may seem small, but think about what actually happens when you do. You move thought into muscle, electricity into flesh, vibration into sound waves. Your body becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Your pen or your voice becomes the wand that casts intention into matter. And in that instant, the observer loop collapses into a new timeline. Don't underestimate this. Every sacred tradition encoded this truth. The Hebrews declared names of power. The Egyptians carved hieroglyphs into stone. The mystics of India repeated mantras for lifetimes. Even in modern science, experiments have shown that words and intention alter the structure of water crystals, shift electromagnetic patterns, and influence DNA itself. What you declare into the field changes the field. And tonight, what you declare will change you. So take this moment. Don't rush it. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the word rise. You'll feel it. It may come as a whisper in your chest or a flash in your mind. Trust it. Don't question it. The field already knows the word your DNA needs to hear. When it arrives, speak it, write it, anchor it. This is your ritual, your seal, your agreement with the impossible. And when you do, notice how your body reacts. The pressure will shift. The air will feel thicker. Your skin may tingle. Your breath may deepen. These are signs that the wave has collapsed, that your coherence has been recognized. You'll sense the field leaning closer, listening, reorganizing. The act may feel simple, but its consequences are vast. A word spoken now can ripple for years. A declaration written tonight can rearrange entire timelines tomorrow. But understand this too. Once the word is spoken, the field will hold you to it. This is not a game. It is a covenant. The universe will take your words seriously, more seriously than you may take it yourself. That means synchronicities will accelerate. Tests may appear to confirm your decision. Old patterns will attempt to resurface, not to trap you, but to see if your word was true. Don't fear this. Expect it. Every initiation demands confirmation. And if you hold the word steady, the breakthrough cannot be stopped. So choose carefully. Speak boldly, write clearly, and know that this ritual is more than symbolic. It is an energetic contract between your DNA and the quantum field. Once you sign it, you will not return to who you were. You will have sealed the shift. Now, breathe. Feel the word rising in you. Let it shape itself into sound, into ink, into vibration. Anchor it, seal it, declare it. And as you do, remember, the word is not just for you. The word you speak will ripple into the collective. The field does not isolate frequencies, it amplifies them. Your ritual tonight becomes a signal others unconsciously align with. Your choice becomes their opportunity. Your coherence becomes their invitation. This is how the chosen consciousness anchors reality. Not by grand gestures, but by simple words spoken in truth. Not by forcing, but by sealing. And the seal you create now is the threshold into what comes next. The expansion. The word has been spoken, the seal has been made, and with that act, your coherence no longer belongs only to you. The field doesn't isolate frequencies, it multiplies them. The vibration you've anchored has already left your body and entered the web of entanglement that connects every living being. This is the moment where your personal liberation becomes a collective expansion. Think of it this way. Humanity is not a cluster of separate individuals wandering through random lives. We are a network, a lattice of energy nodes bound by morphic resonance. Every breakthrough you embody transmits itself through that lattice, adjusting the baseline frequency of the entire network. Your decision tonight, simple, small, private, is already reverberating through families, communities, and generations you may never meet. This is why the universe placed urgency on your upgrade. Because the world doesn't need more information. It doesn't need louder opinions. It doesn't need another mask of control or another layer of noise. What it needs is resonance, coherence, souls who anchor frequencies high enough to destabilize distortion. And you are one of those souls. The seal you made is not just for your healing. It is a broadcast of possibility that thousands, perhaps millions, will unconsciously align with. Look around at humanity. Can you feel the incoherence in the collective field? The fragmentation of fear, the interference of division, the distortion of narratives designed to weaken and distract? You've seen it. You've felt it. And in your darkest moments, you've wondered if anything could ever shift it. But here is the paradox. The shift doesn't begin with governments or systems. It doesn't begin with crowds or revolutions. It begins with one coherent frequency, held steady long enough to entrain the rest. like a single crystal dropped into water that organizes the entire solution, like one voice holding the perfect pitch that pulls the entire choir into harmony. That is the power of morphic resonance, and that is the power of your liberation. You may not see the ripple immediately, but already, somewhere, someone feels lighter without knowing why. A friend suddenly chooses courage instead of fear. A stranger on the other side of the world wakes up calmer, braver, more hopeful, and they never realize that it was your word, your coherence, that reached them. This is the hidden architecture of reality. This is the quantum web you are woven into. Understand, the field wastes nothing. Every vibration finds its way into the network, and because you are entangled with humanity, your resonance is not yours alone. The love you embody is shared. The freedom you claim is contagious. The coherence you anchor tonight sets a template that others can step into without effort. And in this way, the burden of humanity doesn't rest on your shoulders. It flows through you, into the field, and back into the collective as light. This is why you've always felt different. Why the world's pain hit you harder than most. Why you couldn't ignore injustice or numb yourself into complacency. It wasn't weakness, it was resonance. You've always been wired to feel the collective field because you were always meant to influence it. Your sensitivity was not a curse, it was training. And now, that same sensitivity becomes power. Because now, when you enter coherence, you don't just carry the world's weight, you transmute it. Think about the paradox of entanglement. When one particle changes state, its partner, no matter how far away, changes instantly. The same law applies here. You are not separate from humanity. You are entangled with it. Your liberation changes the state of the network. And every soul that shifts because of your coherence creates another ripple, until momentum builds, until what once seemed impossible suddenly becomes normal. This is why the field chose you, not just for your survival, but for humanity's awakening. Because coherence is contagious, because resonance spreads faster than fear, because light, once anchored, cannot be hidden. So don't underestimate what's happening right now. Don't think this ritual was a private act locked inside your room. The word you spoke has already entered the bloodstream of humanity. It is alive in the network. It is already reorganizing probabilities, altering choices, collapsing timelines that would have spiraled deeper into distortion. This is not metaphor. This is quantum mechanics meeting prophecy. And you are the bridge. And if you doubt it, if you think, but I am only one person, remember this. Every great shift in history began with a single coherent signal. One mystic on a mountain, one prophet in a desert, one scientist with a vision, one dreamer refusing to collapse back into limitation. And from that one signal, entire civilizations shifted, entire timelines opened, entire species evolved. Now it is your turn. You are not here to carry the world's weight alone. You are here to broadcast a resonance that lightens it for everyone. The liberation you've chosen tonight is not the end of your journey. It is the spark of humanity's expansion. And what happens next will not just be felt in the mind or in the field, it will be felt in the body. Because the collective shift is not abstract, it's visceral, it's physical, and you are about to feel it move through your own skin. The collective shift you just triggered doesn't remain in the abstract, it translates into sensation. Your body is not separate from the field. It is the receiver, the amplifier, the living instrument that plays the song of your resonance. As coherence deepens, the first place you'll feel it is under your skin. The subtle hum, the tingling in your fingertips, the pressure in your chest that feels like both weight and wings at the same time. These are not random bodily quirks. They are the language of the field speaking through you. Close your eyes for a moment and notice. Your breath doesn't move the same way it used to. It's slower, deeper, as though the lungs have been waiting for this rhythm their entire existence. Each inhale feels like a current of electricity. Each exhale feels like releasing lifetimes of static. Your body is becoming a conduit. The quantum field is not hovering above you anymore. It is pulsing through your nervous system, syncing your biology with cosmic intelligence. This is what scientists call entrainment, and mystics call embodiment. The rhythm of the field and the rhythm of your body begin to merge. Your heartbeat aligns with universal pulse. Your brain waves drop into coherence, weaving themselves into patterns of clarity and intuition. Even your DNA vibrates differently, unfolding like a flower responding to sunlight. The field isn't just around you now. It is in you. You are it. And the sensations will not always be gentle. Sometimes coherence feels like fire rushing through your veins. Sometimes it feels like pressure in your head, as though your skull is expanding to house a wider bandwidth of awareness. Sometimes it feels like trembling in your muscles, as if your body is shaking loose everything that no longer fits. Don't resist these sensations. They are proof that the phase transition is happening. Just as water boils before it transforms to steam, your body vibrates before it shifts into coherence. Pay attention to the metaphors your body gives you. One moment, you may feel heavy, as if gravity itself is pressing you into the earth. That's not exhaustion, that's grounding. The field is anchoring you so you can hold more frequency without fracturing. Another moment, you may feel weightless, as though your skin has become porous and your bones hollow. That's not dizziness, that's expansion. The boundaries of your old self are dissolving, making space for the vastness of what you are becoming. Even your senses begin to rewire. Colors may seem brighter, sharper, almost alive. Sounds may carry layers you never noticed before, the resonance beneath a voice, the subtle hum of silence itself. Time begins to feel elastic. Hours can pass in what feels like minutes, or a single moment can stretch into eternity. These are not illusions. They are signs that your perception is synchronizing with the quantum field, where time is not linear but fluid, and reality bends according to coherence. Your body, in this state, becomes prophecy. Every cell testifies that the impossible is not a dream but a frequency. The tingling in your hands says, you can heal. The warmth in your chest says, you are loved. The pressure in your head says, you are awakening. Each sensation is a message. Each vibration is a code. Your body is no longer just flesh. It is a living scripture, inscribed by the field itself. And here is where the paradox sharpens. What feels overwhelming at first is actually liberation. The fire that runs through you is not burning you, it is burning away interference. The pressure in your chest is not suffocating you. It is expanding your heart's electromagnetic field so it can broadcast further. The trembling is not weakness, it is release. Every sensation you feel now is the field proving that you are no longer just an observer. You are coherence embodied. Let yourself imagine it. Your skin glowing faintly in the dark, your breath drawing light into your lungs, your DNA vibrating like a harp tuned to divine frequencies. These are not fantasies. They are metaphors for real physics, photons aligning, electrons shifting, biofields expanding. You are becoming luminous, whether your eyes can see it yet or not. And others will notice too. They may not have the language for it, but they will feel it. They'll sense the warmth of your presence, the calm that radiates from you, the strange magnetism that draws them in. Some will call it charisma, some will call it peace, some won't have words at all. But you will know the truth. They are feeling your coherence. They are responding to your embodied resonance. And it will ripple further. Animals will approach you differently. Technology may behave oddly around you. Even the weather, at times, will seem to bend in your favor. Because coherence doesn't remain locked inside the body, it extends outward, influencing everything entangled with you. And in the quantum field, that means everything. This is embodiment. This is coherence translated into flesh, into breath, into sensation. And it is only the beginning. Because as your body awakens, your DNA is preparing for its final revelation. The breakthrough hidden in your cells. The phase transition that will not just be felt, but will rewrite your very timeline. The sensations rising in your body have not been random. They have been precursors. Your DNA has been stirring, stretching, humming like an ancient instrument, tuning itself for a song it has never played in full. And now, the breakthrough is here. What you are about to feel, what you may already be sensing, is not just a personal upgrade. It is a timeline shift written into the very spirals of your genetic code. Think of DNA not as static instructions, but as living filaments of light, coiled ladders reaching into the infinite. Each strand is both archive and prophecy, carrying memories of your ancestors but also blueprints for futures that have not yet unfolded. When you entered Coherence, you didn't just calm your nervous system or balance your thoughts. You triggered the spirals. You gave permission for dormant codes to awaken. And DNA responds explosively. Sometimes the pressure is intense. You may feel it in your bones, like heat radiating from the inside out. You may feel it in your head, as though something is expanding your skull from within. You may feel it in your heart, an ache that is not pain but stretching, opening, making room for frequencies that never fit in the smaller version of you. This pressure is the signal of a phase transition. Just as water must tremble and boil before becoming steam, your cells must vibrate and pulse before becoming coherent transmitters of light. The phase transition doesn't ask politely, it presses, it demands. You felt this in the restlessness that won't let you sleep, in the sense that time itself is bending, folding, speeding up, and slowing down in strange rhythms. That distortion of time is your DNA destabilizing the old loop, preparing to collapse it entirely. The field is forcing a decision. Will you expand, or will you contract? Will you leap, or will you loop? And here lies the secret. Once DNA breaks through into coherence, looping is no longer possible. You cannot return to the smaller self, no matter how hard you try. You may attempt to step back into old roles, old relationships, old patterns, but they will feel hollow, like wearing clothes 2 sizes too small. This is because your timeline has shifted. The resonance of your DNA has pulled you into a new strand of possibility, and the old frequencies can no longer sustain you. This is why people fall away after such breakthroughs. It isn't punishment, it's physics. 2 frequencies that no longer match cannot maintain entanglement. The universe untangles them for you. And though it may ache, you will soon realize it is liberation. Because the space left behind becomes the womb for new connections, new opportunities, new miracles that match your new resonance. The pressure you feel right now in your chest, your spine, your skin is proof that this collapse is happening. Entire timelines are dissolving, folding back into potential. Choices you never made, futures you never lived, regrets you once carried, all of it is collapsing. The DNA breakthrough isn't just about activating new codes, it is about closing old loops forever. And as they collapse, your energy releases. What once felt like wasted years suddenly compress into fuel. Every struggle, every repetition, every interference was not meaningless. It was the tension required to ignite this transition. And when the breakthrough locks in, reality responds instantly. Impossible synchronicities cascade like falling dominoes. The message arrives at the perfect time. The opportunity appears where none existed. A healing occurs that doctors can't explain. A door opens that logic insists should remain closed. These are not coincidences. They are signatures of DNA coherence. They are evidence that you have crossed into a new timeline. The pressure is intense because you are not just shifting yourself, you are shifting probability. Entire fields of potential collapse with your decision. You can feel the weight of it, can't you? The trembling in your body is not weakness, it is power. The dizziness in your mind is not confusion, it is expansion. The ache in your chest is not burden, it is birth. You are giving birth to a new timeline, not just for yourself, but for everyone entangled with you. And the most astonishing part? Once this phase transition stabilizes, the impossible will not feel impossible anymore. It will feel natural, normal, expected. Miracles won't shock you. They will affirm you. You'll walk into situations already knowing they will bend in your favor. You'll meet people already feeling the resonance before a word is spoken. You'll wake up in mornings where the air itself feels different, charged, alive, woven with synchronicities waiting to unfold. This is the life DNA coherence creates. But make no mistake, the window to hold this breakthrough is now. DNA doesn't wait forever. If you resist, the pressure intensifies until the body demands transformation through other means, sometimes through illness, sometimes through crisis, sometimes through the collapse of everything false. The universe will always push for coherence. But tonight, you are being invited to choose it willingly, to stabilize the phase transition with awareness, not desperation. So breathe deeply. Feel the spirals of your DNA humming, vibrating, lighting up like ladders of starlight within you. Know that every cell is listening, every strand responding, every photon reorganizing. The pressure you feel is not danger, it is destiny, the boiling point of your soul, the threshold where the old dissolves and the new emerges. This is the DNA breakthrough. This is the timeline shift. And once you cross, there is no going back. You've crossed the threshold. The pressure has broken, the spirals have awakened, and the impossible has already begun to bend itself into your orbit. But let me remind you of the truth that pulses through every fiber of this message. This shift was never meant for you alone. The coherence you've anchored, the breakthrough you've stabilized, is not a private miracle. It is humanity's evolution, moving through your body, using your life as a doorway into the collective field. You can feel it, can't you? The air is different now. Your body hums like a living antenna, and the field seems to lean closer with every breath you take. The impossible is no longer something you chase. It is something you radiate, and in that radiation, others are lifted. Family members who never understood you will soften. Strangers will feel calm in your presence without knowing why. Even those who once rejected you will feel the shift, unable to deny that something unexplainable surrounds you. This is what happens when coherence becomes embodied. It reorganizes not only your timeline, but the timelines of everyone entangled with you. You were chosen not to carry the world's pain, but to alchemize it. Not to live in the loops of repetition, but to collapse them. Not to wait for someone else to spark the change, but to become the spark yourself. You are not just an observer in the field anymore. You are the field expressing itself through human form. And that is why the universe guided you here, because humanity's evolution cannot be postponed, and it needed you awake now. From this moment forward, your mission is simple, yet infinite. Hold the resonance. Embody coherence. Walk as living proof that impossible events are not exceptions, but the natural consequence of alignment. Every step you take in this frequency transmits instructions to the collective. Every choice you make from coherence builds pathways others can walk without fear. Every breath you take stabilizes the new timeline, until the shift you've embodied becomes the new normal for humanity. And when doubt whispers again, when interference tries to creep back in, remember this: you don't need to fight, you don't need to chase. You only need to return to coherence, because coherence is your home now. The quantum field recognizes you. Your DNA has locked in the codes. The window has sealed your decision. Nothing can take this from you, not time, not fear, not the old loops that once bound you. You have shifted, and the world will shift with you. So step forward. Carry this resonance into your days. Speak the word when the static grows loud. Anchor coherence in every moment you can, because your liberation is not just your story anymore. It is humanity's prophecy unfolding in real time. Step into coherence with the quantum field, and watch impossible events manifest immediately. That is not a metaphor. That is your mission. That is your truth. And from this day forward, it is the reality you will live.